Hey everyone, welcome to Lone Wolf Entertainment. I'm Rashid, and I'm here to give you a chill Division build video.
Hi there.
With 1.8 right around the corner, and a lot of players expected to come back, I figure this is the best time for me to make a video showing you guys how I make a balanced build. Now, I generally don't run with a balanced build, but anytime I have a friend coming back to the game who's asked me what build to run, what's the best gear set or what have you, I just tell them make a balanced build out of whatever you have, and you can work your way from there once you're comfortable with the game again. Now, my version of a balanced build normally consists of 2 pieces of firearms, 1 piece stamina, 2 pieces of electronics. I throw that together and I work from there. So I think in my stash right now I have enough pieces to put together a classified final measure build. So I'll do that, but the philosophy stays the same. You can do this with Mitch-Mac gears. You can do it with a regular gear set. It doesn't have to be classified. And it's just something to do when you're coming back to the game, or if you're a new player and you just got 30 and want to know how to start off. I think a balanced build is the easiest way to get your feet wet. And once you're used to it, then you can start making, your glass cannon builds, your full-on electronics builds, full-on firearms builds, stuff like that, the hybrid builds. But just for the basics and getting reacquainted with the game, or starting out for the first time, I like to tell people to use balanced builds. So let's get started. Okay, so I put the classified final measure together, and like I said earlier, my version of a balanced build consists of 2 of the pieces being firearms, 1 being stamina, 2 being electronics. So what I did here is the chest piece is rolled stamina. It already had 1400 out of the possible 1401 on classifieds, so I kept that at stamina. Rolled health on there, which come 1.8 I actually might roll to skill haste, because in 1.8 stamina is getting a buff. So depending on how this build looks once that update comes out in my health pool, I might do away with that extra health. On the backpack, I have skill power rolled and electronics rolled. Mask, I have electronics rolled and skill power. No matter what type of build I am in, I always try to have as much skill power as possible, just because I never like to be in a situation where I can't adequately cure myself. So even with a glass cannon build, which I rarely make specifically for that reason, I just don't like not being able to heal myself. So I generally put skill power wherever I can, as long as it doesn't conflict too much with the particular build. So that's usually mask, backpack. Depending on the builds, I throw it on my knee pad sometimes. And usually most of my mods, unless I'm going for a max skill haste build, will be electronics on the mods, or skill power on the mods. So we'll go over here to the gloves. Gloves, I have rolled firearms, crit hit chance, assault rifle damage, skill haste. 1.8 comes out, that assault rifle damage will be changed to a percentage, which will actually be somewhat of a buff. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to keep the crit hit chance or change it to enemy armor damage, but most likely it'll stay crit hit chance for now. On the knee pads, I have that also rolled for firearms, have health on it, and I rolled, I believe, shock resistance on these, just because I needed a slot to roll. So, when you're doing PvP, you're always going to run into somebody with shock turrets, so it's good to have a little bit of shock resistance. It helps that duration of the stun be a little bit shorter. And on the knee pads, I just went for highest stats across the board on all three: firearms, stamina, electronics, and I rolled skill haste on it. So with this build right now, it's 15% skill haste. When 1.8 comes around, if I'm able to change that health on the chest to skill haste, I may be able to get it up to about 24%, 25%. And that's what my balance build looks like as far as piece per piece. With this build, you have enough firearms, stamina, electronics to proc almost all talents in the game. The only ones you need to try to get in the free slot are the stamina talents that require 4700. Those you'll have to put, like I said, in the third free slot in your weapons. Now let's take a look at the gear mods, and then after that we'll take a look at the weapons and the weapon talents. On the chest piece, I have 2 electronic mods with skill power on both of them. On the backpack, I have a firearms mod with skill power on it and 2 first aid self-heal mods. On the mask, I have a firearms mod with skill power on it. On the knees, I have a firearms mod with skill power on it and 1 first aid self-heal mod. And on the holster, I have a first aid self-heal mod. Now onto the weapons. Since they are nerfing the M4s and the LVOACs in 1.8, I started to move over to ACRs early, so I was used to them. So right here I have an ACR. Has determined, competent, responsive on it. I like to have a nice mix of damage talents and utility talents. So that's where the determined comes from. Competent and responsive, both damage. On my SASG, I rolled, what is it, sustained, responsive, and unforgiven. I'd actually like to roll unforgiven to predatory. That way I use the SAS when I need a little extra health, or if I'm in a jam. Melt something down to proc that predatory and that self-sustained. Alright, now we're on to the skills and the talents. As for the talents, I like to use critical save for when I pop a med kit in that last segment. Also, I use combat medic predominantly because I'm not going to use a final measure build when I'm running solo anyway, so this will help heal up my teammates. Strike back is always a must. You get that extra bit of cooldown reduction when your health is real low. And then on the move for the damage reduction when killing an enemy while moving. And that, folks, is my balanced final measure build. Like I said, it doesn't matter the gear set. You can run this type of balance with mismatch pieces, whether it's high-end, exotic, gear sets, classifieds. It's just about getting the right stat distribution so you can have as many talents unlocked as possible. Once you get comfortable with the game again, whether you're an old player returning or a brand new player just starting, you can start to mix it up, get a little bit more specific, and do, you know, more builds that lean to one way or the other, whether it's a glass cannon build or full-on electronics build, or you want to spec to a specific gear set. But just to get your feet wet, like I said earlier, I like this balance build, and I'd suggest it to anyone needing help. Want to thank you all for watching this video. This was my first official YouTube video. If you like what you saw, click the like button below and subscribe. I look forward to you guys joining me on this journey I call YouTube. Catch you later.